All right, so I wanted to talk about GameStop. It's been pretty much the talk of the week, possibly the talk of starting last week. Um, so let's just look at this before I talk about the run up and what actually happened. So the entry for GameStop, based on the TD sequential and this moving average crossover that I go, it's a 3MA strategy. You would have gotten here all the way back in August. So say you would have gotten at the top. Right now, you know, before the market closed, or right when the market closed, it was 147. Post market, it has run up all the way to over $200. So you'd be up 2,500%, 26x on your money, right? But this is from a trade all the way back in August. So sometimes, people say, "Oh man, it's you got to get lucky." It was in the charts, okay? So yeah, the majority of what's been happening probably last week and this week is emotional, and it's retail investors, and I'll go over that. What's kind of going on, but there was a setup there all the way back in August, and then say it hit a nine. Say you would have sold. Where would I have looked to re-enter? I could have re-entered here. It would have maybe stopped me out here, but then I would have had another re-entry right here at this five. Everything's trending up. You got a weekly candle closing above a prior weekly candle, closing above the nine. You could have taken, you could have, if it closed up on the 4 hour or the daily, above that prior week high, this high right here on the four, this 1630, you could have entered. But say you didn't. Say you waited till the week. At the close of market, you would have been up 7x, over 600%. Post market, you'd be up almost, 10x, 900%, 10x on your money. So there was entries. If you would have been watching it and had this strategy in mind. Now, you would have entered here. The next week, you would have been down 6, down another 6, so 12. But if you would have held, this would have been 100% week, 83% week, and then this week, over 100 and something percent, and then we're over $200. So what happened? Why is this? Why did this move like it did? Well, there's a. Make sure I'm streaming this. Okay. There's a website called Wall Street Bets, and it's a collection of retail investors. It's like a subreddit. Well, there's this website, Quiver Quantitative. They keep track of the mentions on Wall Street Bets. They have some other data too, but you can see here on the 15th and the 16th there was a lot of talk about there's a lot of mentions on GameStop. So that was the weekend. Was that the weekend? 15th and the 16th. No, that was a Friday and then the Monday, right? So price consolidated, and this is a couple of days consolidated. We got to close above the 9. You could have taken it. It's on a daily, and it had already moved aggressively. So 50%. Would I have taken that? I probably wouldn't have. A couple of people were asking me about it, and I was like, I'm not. I think the majority of the gains are done. But I don't remember what day it was, but there was a hedge fund, a hedge fund called Melvin Capital that announced that they had a short position out on GameStop. Well, that mention caused, there was an uptick right here. See, on the 24th, when was that? 2 days ago. And I believe that's whenever they announced it. Was it Monday? It might have been over the weekend that they announced that they had let's look at this. So, yeah, so here's the article. Here's an article. Short sellers have lost $5 billion on this squeeze. Melvin Capital is the one that's getting the most, it's getting mentioned most in the media. I want to know. I know that they announced that they had a short position this week, and then Chamath, who's another big investor, he basically invented SPACs, had announced that he had bought some calls, and then Elon had mentioned it just on his Twitter. And here, this Melvin Capital had been one of the top hedge funds the past 2 years. They were like 40%, year over year. And then this year they're down 30% already, and it's just the first month. I'm trying to see when they announced. I know it was sometime this week, but that announcement basically fueled even more retail investors to pile into this via Wall Street Bets. So they put out a letter, and you can maybe pause this video and read through it yourself. But they basically like an all-out attack on hedge funds. And trading itself has changed, with online brokers, and you can set up your own account and manage your own money. So there's the barrier to entry is not what it used to be. You can basically trade almost, it's on your phone. It's just so readily available. You can transfer money, have money there, the same day, and then buy if you want. So there's a lot of talk of the options that are going to expire this Friday, and that price is going to continue to pump higher. I'm not taking this trade. But let's go over it. I mean, I just want to talk about it. There was a 9 here. It doesn't seem like any of this is actually working anyway, but I don't see it lasting much longer. You have, 92% day tomorrow. I'm not sure. I mean, the day before yesterday, the price swing on this from the high to the low was enormous, right? So it was 61% swing, and there was a bunch of, pausing and trading. They stopped a bunch of times. There's something called circuit breakers, and you can read about them. But whenever there's too much volatility, trading will get paused for so many minutes and for so long, and then resume. And that's where this volatility came through. I didn't see today if there was any hit, but I mean, let's just look at the volume. I mean, the volume was probably Yeah, look at these. Just the past couple of days, it's just tremendous volume coming in. So how much longer do I think? I mean, I see people saying it's going to go to 500. I see people saying it's going up to 1,000. There's really, is there anything that we can go off of that could possibly give us? I mean, we're on a monthly 9. The end of the month ends on Friday, whenever all these options are supposed to expire. So yeah, I mean, this could be, maybe you ride it out for the rest of the week. On the weekly, you're over, you're past the 9. You're past the 9 here. On the 4-hour, you're also as well. On the hourly, you're on an 8. Tomorrow, the open could be a 9. Maybe that's your sell. That could be your sell. Just take whatever profits you have, because this is getting extremely, extremely risky. You can always set a stop. The Bollinger Bands, yeah, we're outside of them. The daily is going to even be even more tremendous, and probably the weekly as well. Yeah, this is not sustainable. But if you're in it, man, I'm happy for you. This is a massive move. Right here, the CMF is 0.31. If we break that, which we probably will. See, so you're getting. I mean, there's divergence here. That divergence I always talk about, and this is extreme. This is just emotional trading, people piling into this, thinking they're going to get rich. I mean, this is not something to take a trade on. 4-hour, I think the 4-hour CMF, I mean, it's trending up. It's higher than these past levels, but you really want to get here. The daily, I mean, yeah, there's divergence here. I'm not taking the trade. I feel like it's been missed, but just wanted to go over it, to talk about it. Ichimoku Cloud's not going to give us anything, because we're going to be so far ahead of it, even on the monthly. So what happens to these parabolic moves, these things that just go straight vertical? They usually retrace about between 65 and 85%. So say if we're at 100, what's an 85% retracement? All the way back down to 28. What's a 65? To 70. The swing for this week was pretty much that. We can look at the RSI is probably through the roof. Yeah, RSI on the weekly is 95. What's the highest it's ever been? This is the highest it's ever been. Hasn't been any higher than about 83, 84, and we're above that. Not sustainable. On the daily, 95. What's the highest it's ever been? And I'll just set a horizontal line there, and we can look at it. 95. Has it ever been that high in its history? No, it's never been that high. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. So you're buying something that's at all-time highs on indicators that are just maxed out to just beyond belief. I mean, the only thing I can do is maybe draw a Fibonacci on this based on the last run up. And I would draw it from here. Nope. I can set it after. I would draw it from, and I'll reverse this after too. Let's just go to the monthly since this run up is just so large. All right. From here to the bottom of this, and then I got to reverse that. You're sitting pretty much right at a Fibonacci. And then the next one's at 215, right? Let's see if we can get some more lines in here. Let's just pull them all up. I mean, there's just so many. Right? I mean, this is an extreme case, so let's just look at all these levels. We already went through this one, 195. We're in here, this 215, 203 area. This stops at 282. Can we get that high? I don't know, maybe. What's the market cap of GameStop right now? Let me see. Oh, let's pull up that 8, or it's an infinite market cap. Let's see if GameStop's even on here yet. You would think so, but it might not be. No, it's not. It's not even in the top 50. Let's look at it. I'll pull it up real quick to see what it is. Market cap of 5 billion. So it's not even here. It's not even close. So, yeah, we're on a monthly. Whenever we close the market, we were right at a Fibonacci level. Does this matter? It doesn't even seem like it does. But, I mean, if I'm looking at levels, this was the post-market level here. You know, maybe it jumps up to 238. I just don't see it going much higher. I mean, I guess they can believe it's going to be 500 or 1,000. We'll see. I mean, it'll be a run like no other. So, but that's GameStop. It's crazy. We're going to get a 9 tomorrow. Everything's saying it's close to a top. On balance volume, I didn't look at that. That's trending down, even on the hourly. The 4 hour, it's trending up. Daily, it's going to be trending up, and weekly, it's going to be trending up as well. There hasn't been any sort of price divergence for it to go down, but RSI is maxed out. CMF was bearish divergence. That's pretty much all I have. There's nothing else to really show, but what a tremendous run. So something else, TLRY started going back up. I'll look at that real quick. I basically just re-entered on, I have this, yeah, I have a Fibonacci, because I was talking about 17 could be support if I had to find an area, and it was. It ran up today. It's sitting right at this 9. Tomorrow, if there's a 2 that closes above a 1 above the 9, that would be bullish, and the target area is going to be $24 to $26, somewhere around this mid to upper 20 range. I can look at the RSI real quick. It kind of bounced here. I would say that the run, probably if it gets to this area, will probably pull back to a previous high. There's some, I mean, this is trending down. But that's just moving with price. Price is flat here. RSI is flat. I'd pull up the CMF to see what's going on. This is kind of, I mean, yeah, it's trending up a little bit. It's also trending down, so that would be bearish. But if I'm going off of the 1MA, which works real well for this, if I entered here this morning, I would exit right at 18 for a stop. But we're at an area where there's a lot of support, kind of sideways. If it would have broken, you know, this 17 area and closed the day below it, that probably would have signaled for much more downside, but it found support, so that was good. So that's TLRY. I have a small position in this. Waiting for a green number above, prior green number above the 9 to go back up. RSI is a little bit extended. It's not extended on the weekly though. Why is this not coming up? That's a trend line that I had drawn. I probably don't need that anymore. I mean, I can keep it there, but I'm going to hide it for right now. Yeah, so, I mean, we could go higher. This is the weekly, but, I mean, TLRYs ran up before. We could get overbought, right? So whenever the RSI is high like this, it gets to a certain point whenever it breaks this 70 and maybe a prior peak, that it becomes more of like a confirmation of the move, and like just it kind of just shows that there's upward momentum. It isn't until it starts to break down or break, opposite of price, that we get either bullish or bearish divergence. So it's really, right now, it's really not offering anything other than that. Price is flat. Balance bandwidth. Yeah, so that was a little bearish. On balance volume, I think was fine. It's flat. Trending down a little bit, but that's with price. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of breaking up a little bit, so that's good. But if I'm solely, on the hourly, weekly, this is saying trending up, so we gotta close to above. It was on the 4 hour. Let's see. Yeah, we closed above this spike here on the downward move, so that was good. Whenever we closed above 1854, kind of, it's keeping price. It's going sideways. We're in this channel of this Fibonacci that I drew, so until we really break that, you could wait until 21 to get to 24 to 26. That'd still be over 10% return. But and then the other thing was FUBO. I talked about, kind of re-entered that too. We're on an 8. Post market, I think it was around 46, 47. So this worked better with the 30 EMA. And you would have entered here, right around 33. But you could have set, we had a pullback. You could have set a stop to take some profit, and I believe I did, because the price swing was just so large here this day, the 25th. Price ran up, and then, within like the hour, it dropped as much as it ran up, almost more than 10%. I had set a stop at the low of this 9, got stopped out, which was fine. It looked like we were going back lower here to retest it, but whenever we got upward momentum on the 4 hour here above, 40.39, even though we were later in the count, there's some consolidation here. The 8 did get as high as the 6, but if you look, we have an area where, this was emotional selling. So if we can break above this, which we did in post market, we could get to 60 relatively quickly and go higher, because the indicators on this are not, it's close to 70. So like I said, whenever this gets over 70, it's more of confirming momentum. And then until it breaks down and you get higher prices, is it not signaling you that it's bearish? So yeah, we're on the upper part of it. On the daily, we're trending up. So tomorrow could be a big day. Maybe till the end of the week, this could run up tremendously. There was a little bit of talk that, Super Bowl's coming up, so price could run up, but that's irrelevant. Technically, this is telling you that this is a good buy, and this is like a W pattern here. And if this goes even higher, it could be even more of a W pattern. As far as any other pattern that I see, I don't really see anything. I mean, you could call this a cup and handle, right? So your target would be the height of this here, once the break, which is probably about right there. So about $50. The higher, which would be the cup part, right at 60, about 60, a little bit below at 57. So, and yeah, so if you've never seen me draw that cup in hand, I'll draw it real quick, but it's this. So that's the cup part. And this is the handle part, right there. And that broke out. So, like I said, these are the targets. It's initially this part here. Oh, there, about 50. And then the larger, if it can get momentum to go higher, which would be right around this previous 9. Yeah, it's about $5 short, but that's the target. 60, and if we can break above 60, higher, because that'll be, oh, I didn't want to do that. That'll be to that's all-time highs for this. I don't think it's been any higher. No, it has been. It has been. It's been much higher. So, but it looks like 60 is the kind of line in the sand right now. We get higher than that, we could break out much higher. So it could be a good trade. You keep on pushing with your winners, and until this gets a count to where it's exhausted and it looks bearish. The 9 came here, we had it higher, and it crashed down. So if you get a 9, you can always set a stop at the low of that 9, and then if it shows strength and then goes back above it, you would re-enter. So tomorrow probably be a 9. Later in the day, you can set a stop. So if price starts to fail, you could get out with some profit. That would go against the 30 EMA, but sometimes you have to adapt your trading so you can get out with, optimize your profit, and then you can always re-enter. If price starts to move back up and you miss out on 5%, but the move's going to ultimately be a 20 or 25% run up, you still did very well. So yeah, that's about it. I'll go over Bitcoin real quick. It's been pretty boring the past couple of days. Not much price movement, consolidation around this lower, 30 area. I'm kind of hesitant to draw any patterns because I just feel like this is a consolidation, like I said, between 40 and 30. There's a little bit of breakdown. We're breaking above this hourly and we can't hold, and then on the 4-hour too. So we're getting above this 30 EMA, and it seems to be irrelevant right now, which would be whenever your moving averages start not to be as effective. It's because you're in consolidation. So and then you're looking for a price to break down or break up, and we had an 8. We had a large spike, couldn't hold price. Moving averages trending down. No trade zone. In between, looks like I drew some Fibonacci's here. Yep. In between them, like I said, we would trade sideways. This would have been a 9 week, but it's a 1, which is okay. I mentioned that Lucid SAR. If we break it, it's usually a buy, especially in a bear cycle. That's at 28,732, so maybe 28,750 or something like that. But next week it'll go higher. I think we just consolidate. I don't see much of a bearish signal. I think the CMF and all that is kind of resetting, but it's just also in a range. It's not really breaking down. There's a little bit of, it's trending up with price a little bit here. That was bullish for that moment. What we are getting is this funding rate is starting to go negative, which is good. You're starting to get more shorts in the market, and historically this has been a counter indicator. So whenever this is bearish, whenever this is bullish, you would kind of start to look for exits. Whenever it's bearish, you would look for entries. You can see it here. It was negative for a while, and then eventually price broke out. But it consolidated, right? There wasn't big moves. It was like days with, plus or minus 2 or 3%, maybe 4 or 5. But, that's negative, so that's good. I think on the weekly, I haven't checked it. It's getting smaller, so we could get some, a couple weeks of consolidation, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then this goes negative, and look what happens whenever it goes negative, 4 weeks, and then we start to break out. So, if we break down a little bit, um, we I said whenever we got below 30, I didn't think it would stay there for long. It stayed there for 2 hours last week whenever I broke it. Here it was minimal, less than that. Um, we haven't broke it yet this week, but we'll see. I don't think we're just in consolidation. It's gonna be boring for a little while. Whenever we get a break, you'll know it. You'll see it. It's gonna move. But that's about it. And any comments or anything you want me to cover, leave them in the comments. And thanks for watching.